Spent the day with my friend Gene in Playa del Carmen, getting a sunburn without knowing it, and delving into his specialty of dissolving away your belief systems and your energetic baggage in terms of whatever they might be, thoughts, ideas, beliefs, emotions, embedded traumas. And we're still in the midst of a couple of real big ones for both he and I. So we're going to take a little departure and see if there's some sort of sanity that can be made out of this environment. You know, because you got to say it's strange here. You know, there's a lot of people acting in, non-cooperative ways in terms of consideration for their neighbors. Yeah, there just is none. You do you do what you want, when you want, how you want, and
as loud as you want.
as loud as you want. So,
That's totally acceptable.
and everybody seems to be okay with it somehow, except for me.
I never used to be, but I dissolved it, and now I just laugh. Which is really nice.
And so that sticks me in at a level of consciousness that I'm not comfortable being. I have to become more aware of my environment and how disparate it is from me, who I am. You know, I'm in a city of complete strangeness to as to who I've been here. You know, there's no place that's mine in this environment. You know.
Right.
So that being said, that's just admitting the current status right now and the inherent discomfort that you feel as a consciousness of an embodied being. You know, your body is in need of your making it feel safe and protected. Because if your body's not relaxed, you're not going to be able to come in and take over truly effectively, without making it a pleasant experience for the body. For you to come in fully awakened without filters so that you see what actually is. And as you look at it, it becomes free. The more you look at something, the freer it becomes. So the obvious thing to do is to look intimately at your own self, your experience. So regardless of your complaints, of your circumstances, how they are for you exactly right now, you have to say, it doesn't matter what they are. Here's where I'm coming in. An awakening is what I'm doing right now. So we have to deal with that. We have to move into a state of becoming comfortable with a transition that's seemingly happening in a quantum way. So we have to get comfortable not knowing who we're going to expand out into a more truer version of ourselves and what that's going to be like. We don't get comfortable with here and now as being the full truth of who we are. You know, the here and now and our experience of ourselves being in this way results in an experience of, severe limitation and discomfort, of course. No ease. So, since you're coming into a position, into inheriting the body that has no ease in it, what do? Well, you don't run away once you're here. You pay attention and you continue to pay attention. And you begin to notice where you're competent, where you're aware enough to be saying and doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way. It's not something that you have to figure out how to be. It's something where you just have to allow the you that you are to disintegrate into the fulfillment of all of the reasons it was created that way. So you have to experience your body moment by moment as being fulfilled. Everything that's causing its trauma meets its equal, exactly what it needed to experience to be fulfilled. And so your unfulfillment is fixed in that easy a way. By allowing yourself, your identity, your experience of yourself to be unfixed. You know it intimately as you are, but you prefer to watch it in transition from what it is into what it could be, what it can be, what its ultimate potential is, and what you are finally giving your body permission to experience for itself. An awakened embodied consciousness. You just have to allow whatever there is in the present to be the end of it. Oh, here's what I feel? Well, guess what? That was the last bit. That was the last there was, and now there's an end to it. Because you accepted it all. Reality as it is. And when you accept all of reality as it is, that's when reality gives you the permission to be here fully awakened, because you're already in a position of universal respect for others. So you're not going to behave badly as you become more able to act, So you have to let the self go in every moment. Your construct is your limitation, not your blessing. The construct has to be a flow. It has to move freely. It has to express itself universally if you're going to be free here. So there's no more holding on to a stable identity, one that you can easily define and limit according to personality test that somebody might take. You need to confront the universality of what it is to experience yourself in an embodied state. As you experience your body, as you have a merger where you're not holding back your consciousness from the experience of your embodiment anymore. You allow yourself to know who you are, what you are, why you are, how you are. You allow the mysteries to demystify, to clarify, to become obvious. So it probably looks pretty strange to do this, but if you simply come to peace with the fact that there's other people around you doing things that are strange to your nature, and you just let it be that way, it's okay. And you can begin to flow again. The solidity naturally releases that point of view that held it in place. And re-embrace the flow of grace itself as its chosen experience. So if that's what your consciousness is choosing for itself, then whatever it is you feel in the moment is the last of it. and it's not going to be there in your next moment, in your next awareness of self. Once you fully awaken, you won't have to put any attention on whether or not you're being your true self. You'll be authentically you at that point, with no more trying to become anything else. And you return again and again to the realization that the flow is what has to be you. You have to be in the flow. You have to be of the flow. The experience of you has to flow from moment to moment in the act of flowering, in the act of actualization, in the act of remembrance of a universal you. And you just surrender into your experiencing that for yourself. You don't have to hold on to any of the pains and traumas. They're only there necessarily for a momentary experience that was actually long ago. So don't hold on to them now. There's no reason to. You choose to awaken, you choose to go free, and then you choose to allow yourself to experience that shift in your experience of you in that moment. Then it doesn't matter what's going on around you so much, because you're not going to be that person who is worried about what others may think of you. You awaken so quickly out of that, and you do so in a confident way, because you know how to move here in a way that no one will want to oppose you, because they see that you're a blessing to them. They feel that, they know that. That's their experience of you. And so you just have to let go of all the thoughts, and you have to just feel what it is that holds you trapped in your body in a state of paralysis. What is it exactly that paralyzes you? You don't feel it in your body. Just be willing to feel it finally. And don't hold anything back from knowing the entire experience as deeply as it can be known. You can't allow a thought to hold you in the future. You let go of it right now. If you've chosen to flow and to unfold and to become in a quantum way the you that you always knew was possible, it's okay if you go ahead and do that right now. It's okay to end your struggle to perfect yourself and allow perfection to become you, because you become it. You have to allow yourself to experience the you of freedom, the you that's truly free. Well, I appreciate you letting me make this strange video. I haven't done one for a week, and it's so easy for me to forget, that something's moving through this, that, we should be recording, even though, it may seem preposterous and absurd to everyone else, and including ourselves. But regardless of the considerations that you have from all those points of view and thoughts that you've accepted from others, it comes down to you making the choice for yourself. You open, you ask, you open, and you receive. If it's not according to the most high dreams of your best level of consciousness, then why isn't that? It's only because you didn't allow yourself to have it. So as much as I want to stay the same, me here, that I can predict who I am from day to day, if I'm as disabled as I, clearly am here, then shouldn't I allow myself to awaken a lot more than I have? Of course I should, and so should you. We all should. There's there's no reason for you to hold back whatever universal glory there is about you from my experiencing that. Just because I'm having an animalistic day doesn't mean that God can't come up and pet his dog until the dog rejoins the family. You know, and dog's just a backward God, and we're dogs. We just got ourselves backward. An experience of continuous transformation is an experience the religious would call the experience of union with God. For a non-believer or an atheist, the experience would be that unlikely event where the universe somehow lined up and opened its heart and gave a beautiful gift to a particular consciousness where it became brilliant. And if that's what you need, and that's what you want, and that's what's knocking at your door, do you open the door? Welcome it in to you yourself. I hope so. For my sake. Because if you did that, I'd never have to worry again about whether or not I'm going to know the truth of myself tomorrow. You only need a few clearly capable of reflecting you on a universal basis back to your sleeping self. So that's what you should be for every other here. You should be that point where when they connect with you, they know that the infinite possibilities of their own expression have opened up again and are available for them to choose to shift into who they really came here to be. Someone a little more purposeful than eating, sleeping, working, and everything else, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, all of it. So when you come in here and you find yourself completely overwhelmed by the experience to the point where you're rejecting a huge part of it, you don't even want to know about it, let alone experience anything that it could contribute to you. So when you fall into the level of consciousness, when you self-protectively block yourself off from what you consider might be a bad influence on you, at the point that you realize that you're doing this, so you have to take a clear stop and say, I'm going in the wrong direction. That's not who I came here to be. I didn't come here to be a person who runs away from reality here and from exploring whatever the infinite possibilities of that might be for themselves. Just let yourself be that as your gift to yourself. There's nothing that's going to oppose you other than you. You'll shut yourself down, nobody else will. When a being blossoms, It's a beautiful experience for everybody. Right, wrong, good and bad, light and dark. Everybody celebrates a beautiful expression of a flowering of grace and truth. It makes feel better, and it makes everybody feel better, even the darkest liar, the one who's hidden every truth away from himself. It doesn't matter if that was all you. The only thing that matters is whatever you feel in this moment just ended and is resolved in the perfect way. It came to an immediate resolution within your experience of the now. It doesn't matter what the solution was. You had it. You experienced it. You embraced it. You welcomed it. And it became the fuel for the possible you to beautifully manifest here. So you just let all that flow however it wants to. Because if you try to control it for yourself, the opportunity will be lost for you to truly awaken. When we can bless each other and bless others equally with what we choose for ourselves, every good that we choose for ourselves, we will be just as happy for another having that experience as ourselves. So, wherever you're in disagreement with that in your experiencing of yourself, wherever you're identifying that as far less than that, and so you're in nearly a traumatic seizure because of the consciousness of the body rejecting the possibility that you could forgive yourself to the point of allowing yourself to be free again. I suggest we try exactly that. Whatever it is that you're feeling, if you feel bad about it in any way, if you feel any guilt whatsoever, forgive yourself. Couldn't help it. It was so nice to do that to yourself for some reason. And the reason doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you didn't like it, and the experience of now is a release from what you didn't like, an expansion of your possibilities of expressing yourself and making an impact here. And you got so much stuff to burn off, man. You have to connect to it. And you have to enjoy it, no matter how painful it is. You have to infuse it with the joy of being here. Being able to come here and make a difference. Save yourself, so to speak. It's not sacrilegious to do that. Who do you think saved Jesus? I think he saved himself. Who do you think saved Buddha? He did. Now, I've had an experience where seemingly I had a beautiful spiritual gift as a gift, and I certainly felt that way in every way, but then I couldn't allow myself to have it. I couldn't take responsibility for how it would shift to and what I was. And so I said, I can't do that. I can't be that. So that's what's created the strife and solidity in our lives. The diminishing ourselves down to a consciousness where we can't believe that we can snap out of this and shift into a unpredictably good experience of life for yourself. Now, my body has been racked with pain and tension. But as I allow myself to experience it, it can't hold on to the solidity. You can't move that experience beyond now into tomorrow. It's becoming easier and easier path to remember is that we're losing the story of ourselves. We're letting that go. So that what we actually are comes through clearly enough so that we don't need made up identities and stories about who and what we might be and what our possibilities are. We don't have to argue that philosophy with anybody. Because if you're arguing about it, you're certainly not being it. So to argue philosophy and religion's a waste of time, of course. Because that argument doesn't bring awakenings. And that, oh my God, thank you for the warning. I didn't realize how wrong I was. Oh, I'm free now. Thank you for your criticism. It was exactly what I needed to awaken. Doesn't matter how you get there. Doesn't matter how you open up. It just matters that you do. You have to feel doing what you are. Then you'll have to let go of that and allow that experience to awaken you. And the fact that you confronted confronted that experience of yourself intimately, then you're largely free of it. And whatever's next for you can come up and say, hey, I'm next. I'm the reason that you don't consider yourself to be free. And here's how you handle me. And then you do it. You meet reality on its terms and say, God, I get you, man. I know exactly why you're the way you are. And I don't care. I wouldn't change a single thing about you unless you wanted me to. But if you want me to do something for you that helps you awaken, you're asking me to be friends with you and familiar with you at a level of consciousness that are we really dealing with this struggle here? Are we going to continue on as this identity that everybody takes David's money and nobody gives enough to you? Let's be done with all that. And so it's not something that you put in there hard, it's something you put in there soft. You play nice with it. You go, okay, we're going on a tour of the trauma of our life. And boy, that story was told, it'd be a sad one. So regardless of what that experience is for you, whatever it is, and whatever impressions it's left on you and impositions and what you've held on about it as being true that wasn't, and you didn't know that. You have to sit in your experience of yourself because your choices made you the way that you are. Now, if you want to explore how much you can awaken in the moment that we're experiencing and sharing together, then that's the only worthy question and subject of conversation two people should have if they're, walking around being stupid. They should take a minute and say, should we reassess who we are, who we're pretending to be, what our potential is in this moment? Oh, I'm seeking. I'm almost there. I got things are. Oh my God, possibilities. But man, does it sure hurt to be me right now. It's all true. And I guess it just really shows that I haven't confronted my hurts enough yet. I have to let things flow the way that they're going to flow. And somehow be okay with it, even though there's all these really bad things that could happen. But you don't worry about those things in unconsciousness, in unawareness, in fear and doubt and, you know, an inability to be true to yourself. You start being true to yourself in this moment just by choosing to be now. Right now, you're going to be true to your awakening, to your realization, to your transformation. You're going to be true to that, true to your potential, willing to experience what it is to know the experience of truth as yourself. Not as an idea, not as a point of view, not as a concept, but as an experience of being set free with the truth that would set you and anyone else free. My heart has been so tense that you could say it was frozen. I've given up on everyone and everything. It's pretty scary when you give up on everyone and everything. When you realize that that's the life that you've been leading. Just giving up on yourself and everyone else. And if that's where you are, that's the experience you need to have in this moment so that you can also awaken in this moment. You have to confront reality exactly where it is, exactly where you are. And the reality that you confront is your experience of yourself. You don't have to bother with anybody else's. You're not qualified. Until the clarity that comes through you is wise and brilliant. And if that's not your experience of yourself, you just experience whatever it is that you are instead of that, then you let it go. Everything go. The goal and the chains of the present and the past. You let the past go because your experience of now is one where you're being set free. Feel it. Feel the solidity, then feel yourself being released from it. Feel the trauma, the pains, the sorrows, the regrets. As soon as you feel them, feel that they dissolve away and are free to find a more beautiful expression of themselves than what they just were. That's what you're freeing yourself to be. A more beautiful version, kinder, gentler, more powerful, more wise, more humble, and even better looking. It all comes back to your experience of the moment. If your experience of this moment is a complaint, then you need to stop your communication to other people and you need to dive down deep into the experience of what it is to be you. Until whatever's complaining has been released because you paid attention to it until its purpose of complaining was fulfilled and it's free again. So experience reality with the expectation that it's going to be an experience of you experiencing reality, feeling free for maybe the very first time. Or the consensus of the human condition is that Thank God we snapped out of that. It's nice to feel like my true self again. And have that be everybody's experience for themselves. How many of us have to make that shift for it to be completely real? All of us, but it shouldn't really be that difficult. When you choose for yourself, the flow of grace is an experience of the level of truth that you're open to. A truth that actually sets you free moment by moment from your experience of yourself in an entrapped, painful way, to where you experience an end of that in the moment. Hey, that's come to a close. That's the end of the story. That's the arrow hitting its target. And the end reaching out and touching the beginning. So remember, the beginning and the end are both you. And you experience them both at the same moment. I don't know how many regrets the average person has, but if they have as many as I do, I feel sorry for them. To be filled with the desire that things in the past would have been different, would have been better for you than they were, as that is your experience in this moment, is something you really should address and accept that experience is real to you and focus on it, allowing yourself to know everything that came into the creation of that weird experience and contextual truth that you believe to be true of yourself. Take a real close look at the complete construct of what it is to be you. It seems like it's impossible for me to be this for some reason. There's just so much in the way. So much that I have to confront and process. Never ever seeming to get to the core truth that sets me free anywhere. So I have to confront that I can't seem to find the pathway to freedom for myself. As I take responsibility for that being my experience. So what comes back? So what do you want now? You received what you wanted before based upon your conduct. The universe delivered exactly what you asked for. So now that you've digested your life and taken responsibility for the condition that you're in, you then have an opportunity to choose differently. So just choose to allow yourself to focus on and notice and embrace the experience of grace. You experiencing grace. So that's what you needed. You needed an undeserved grace, where where you can condemn yourself completely to eternal limitations and come back out of that. No matter where you are, no matter what music you're being forced to listen to, doesn't matter. No matter how strange the people around you are in this reality, doesn't matter how strange you are. What matters is, are you willing to experience what it is to awaken? And are you willing to do it right now? It's a tough one, I know. I sure want to meet the person who can. To be be such a pleasure to know someone who gave himself permission to go all the way free, to expand out universally and know what it is to know every truth, to experience it all, and to not do that as a visitor, but as the resident consciousness of all, as your experience of being you. And as you let go of the pain and unconsciousness that you've caused this reality by your previous identity, whatever it was, it was. However you come back to your life's going to be the better for it. The more you open and the more you awaken, the better a citizen you are here. Because you support the flowering of all consciousness. You hold on to the willingness to have a shared experience with the darkness awakening into a love of the light, and the light awakening into a love of the darkness, both occurring within your experience of yourself. Love sweeping the experience of what it is to be you, like a virus taking over a universe, saved by a wave of universal love of your own creation, apparently. You chose it into being and expression. And to open up and receive that is a reminder to yourself of what your possibilities are. Waking up where you are isn't a completely easy thing, because you have to take responsibility for the insanity and unfunctionable circumstances that you're involved in. And you're going to have to stay conscious enough in those situations so that you untangle yourself and dissolve them, or experience the final moments of their being. Whatever it takes for you to allow yourself to be free, whatever point of view that you have to take on and open up to and take responsibility for, go ahead and do it. There's no limitations to what you can take responsibility for and feel it in your own body. If you take universal responsibility, you might find your momentary troubles fade away and not be there anymore. It's okay, you take as long as you need to. Doesn't matter how long. You focus your concentration upon your momentary experience and allow it to dissipate, allow it to be free. You just keep your focus on there until everything's flowing. Flowing exactly where it wants to. For you, for others, for everyone. That's the experience of heaven on earth, when consciousness rises to the point where everybody awakens in a really competent way. So competently that they don't need to win by defeating others. They win by cooperating, coordinating, and inspiring others to contribute their own motion to an example of a beautiful expression of life. When each one of us realizes that we can experience that as ourselves, that we can connect so deeply with who and what we are, that those limited truths of who and what we are transformed and transition into a greater truth that has a much higher degree of freedom. So, as you allow that to already be the case for you, that you're awakening into an experience of freedom, not an endless stairway to heaven that, several floors down below hell where you start. Just be okay with heaven being you right now. At the same time, you're aware of all your foibles and flaws. The two together are one. So, paradoxically, you're heaven and you're hell in the same moment. And in that, the experience of the frozen hell, which is a more accurate one, thaws, begins to flow again. The more it flows, and the more you pay attention to that flow, the greater it becomes, until it's all there is about you. The flow of grace, and hopefully a truth of a self-realized, actualized experience of yourself. It's a lot to ask for, and it's a lot to experience, more than what I apparently can experience right now. So, but it doesn't mean it's too much for you. What are you willing to open to and experience, like your experience of yourself? As you experience your personal hell, are you willing to experience your personal heaven at the same time and place now? It makes for a memorable party where you take part in reality shifting. Well, part of this is making my body want to move now. To find its balance point, maybe. Now, it's not anything that you force, it's something that you start off not knowing it, so you just experience. And as you connect with the actual limitations that you feel in your body, you don't shy away from it. You don't try to force it into doing something that you want it to because you're afraid, or because you're trying to protect yourself from it in any way. You have to experience each new moment for what it is, good or bad. And if you've got an old body like mine that hasn't been taken care of, then that's where you wake up. And you allow it to move really consciously into a state of full repair and revitalization, so that you can thrive. So you allow yourself to get physically better as well. And considering I had an unexpected cancer operation a week ago, it's something I have to do for myself, one that I didn't plan on. So we confront what we are, what our life is in this moment. And we put our full attention into the experience of the body, no matter how dark and painful, and at the point where we've merged completely with everything that's dark and painful, we allow the light to come on in our awareness that we're heaven as well, emerged the dark and the light merged within ourselves is the fuel for the fire for the fuel of transformation. It's that divine marriage of heaven and hell. And that occurs within you, not somebody else who's worthy. It occurs in the unworthy, or we'd already be that here for ourselves now. And it's not that you've been unworthy, although if there were rules for counting that, you would be unworthy, but worthiness isn't a requisite for awakening, for self realization, for, a Buddha type of existence. What went before is not now, and we embrace now. Universally, we embrace now. So if we feel ourselves intimately and embrace it universally, our experience of self, what happens? All of our traumas from limitations that might not have been true or real, we become free of those. So it's really not something you can teach or explain, because when you're trying to teach it or explain it, the process of experiencing that in that moment, you know, wasn't noticed and paid attention to, so it became real for you. Because it's what you focus your awareness and intention on that becomes real. So you focus on your limitation and your universality, your ability to embrace the universe in totality. As you embrace intimately the tiniest experience of being you. Well, that seems to be a help for me. So, you have to be willing to experience heaven and hell in you at the same time.
Awareness in creation is like heaven and hell too.
Awareness in creation?
By putting your awareness on your creation.
Okay.
It's like heaven and hell as well.
Yes. And hell thaws out, catches fire, which is the transformation of the lie of hell into the awakening, or the reawakening, the remembering, and the realization of the divine self. The most dramatic experience of that is the awakening into that from that which knows that it's anything other than divine. What will it feel like to be able to truly breathe freely again? Where your body's no longer under attack by anything. Where your consciousness is no longer limited and directed by the past. Because you focused on experiencing yourself as the freedom of the moment. And that's really close to the truth of what you are. And the experience then becomes, what does it feel like to awaken as yourself? And as you open into that experience, that's the experience you have. So don't delay anymore. Open all the way. Don't hold anything back. Don't hold on to one secret. See, if we can experience an awakening into freedom, and that happens occasionally for us, then we know that that's real, that that's an available experience for us. And any available experience for you that's readily available can become your constant, if you want to have something predictable. So feel everything that exists within you that is unwilling to experience a divine remembrance of itself. And experience that part of yourself intimately until that part reawakens, becomes sane again. Your body systems then open up and function without stress. Where you want to be is where your light's turned on already. It's inspiring the rest of the experience of you to flow.